Hello, everybody who happens to be just joining in right now. Give me a second. Putting it on my phone so that way I can see any responses from anybody. I'm going to be doing some 3D-Coat sculpting. I have to go to an event that my buddy is running. It's a board game event, and it's a thing that I really want to get into. I want to get into this like board game industry stuff, and just like all the kind of stuff that I talk about in streams and talks and such. I always talk about like if you don't know much about something, then you have to go and experience it or learn from it. And this is one of those things that I want to go experience and learn from. But I thought I'd do like a little quick stream. I've been doing them on my Facebook page, and in fact, I've been trying to get a little bit more people to go there. If you don't follow me on my Facebook, it's Robot Pencil, the same thing, and it has like a little blue alien monster. I would say follow it there. I'm gonna try to do a lot more streams there, but every once in a while I'll do it on my profile just to kind of get people to know that I am doing this more often. And it's whenever I have time, like right before I go somewhere or right before I do some work or whatever. And so I'm gonna do like I do this stuff all the time. Like I'll find some like 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, hour here, hour there, and I'll do like a sketch or I'll like start designing stuff, and or I'll just practice painting, and then every once in a while I'll show it. Lately I haven't because I've been super busy trying to get kind of like my my life back in order. I've been like overwhelmed with too many different responsibilities that I've added over the years, and now it's kind of like I need to kind of get it done. There was just a stream earlier too with John Palladora. I'm not sure if you guys saw it. It should be on Twitch still. You guys should check it out. John is a really good friend of mine, and I think, like, I have a lot of really good friends who most people don't even know who they are, like, artistically yet, and I'm trying to get a lot of them a little bit more recognition because they deserve it. And so, uh, with that being said, I would highly recommend you guys go scope out John Palladora's Facebook page, give him some love, go to his art station too. Here, I'll write it down for you guys too in the chat. Give me a second. John Palladora. Bam. Oh yeah, here we go. So I got Omar. What's up, Omar? I need to get back in 3D-Coat. Sultan. And there's Gordon. Carlos. Hey, Milan. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, bud. Yeah, Facebook Live is pretty cool, man. I actually like it. It's pretty convenient in terms of how to get it going. I mean, like, getting it going on Facebook is actually not as easy as you might think. I actually had to check it out through different websites to get it so you screens your screen. Because, like, for instance, Twitch and stuff, they have, like, really great platforms that allow you to do it. And I'm sure those same platforms are going to probably get into the Facebook Stream API soon. But for now, I'm actually using OBS, which is a really cool platform. I really like it a lot. In fact, I'm thinking about converting over to it instead of using XSplit. XSplit is really great, but OBS Pro is free, which is great. And anything that's free, I like to promote, so that way anyone else who wants to start doing the same thing doesn't have to spend money. I'm getting in this habit of spending less money on stuff. I spend too much money on different things that I think I need, and then eventually I realize I don't need them. I'm sure a lot of a lot of you have the same problem. And so I think I'm going to get into this idea of finding alternative softwares and programs that are much cheaper and a little more affordable to use. Who else is up in here? Daniel Lewis, brace yourself. Student portfolio links coming. I don't think so. Rachel, what's up? Anthony, Daniel Lee, what's up, Dan? And then Stefano, Richard, and Jack. You are not my dad, or I am not your dad, Jack. But if you want me to, we can look into it. Me and my wife are looking into adopting. But we want to try to adopt a little Asian little girl. I know that's not how it works. It's not like you go to you go to Best Buy or Children's R Us and then just like order children. But because we could definitely have a baby of our own, but we want to have another girl because we already have 3 boys, and so like having another girl would be great. Not to say that if we were to do it and then have a boy, we'd be like, all right, cast him into the wild. It's not the child that we were looking for. Because that's the same way we felt with Julian, my youngest, because we wanted a daughter, but then it was a boy, and we love him a lot. Like Julian's like one of my favorite people on this planet. So there's definitely nothing wrong. It's just we really want Delilah to have a sister, so that way she's not like the only girl in the family outside of her mom. But anywho, the point is I'm not going to adopt you, Jack. Yeah, I want an Asian baby just so that way I can put them through a sweatshop and they can do all my paintings for me. No, that's racist, and that's not why. Just because there's like a really big problem in a lot of these Asian countries where they pretty much like treat their daughters like kind of crap, and like a lot of these families are just throwing away their daughters because they're not allowed to. I think that's been changing actually recently because of some really bad population problems that were occurring from that stupid mentality. But I mean, it makes sense at the time, I guess, because you have like a lot of people having babies, and then they're all only getting more and more populated. But it's just unethical, right? I'm not gonna get too much into why. I was just joking. It really doesn't matter. Me and my wife haven't made any serious moves. We just only talked about it. But here, let's talk about art instead of adopting Asian babies. So anyone have any questions? I'll try to answer them as if I can see them. Hey, what's up, Zabby? And then what's up, Sultan? What's up, Daniel? Hey, how often do you use a 3D-Coat? All the time. What do you prefer about it over ZBrush? Because I'm not really familiar with this package. As you can probably see, like I'm just like cutting apart and moving things pretty easily, hard surface wise, and the material changing. I mean, I'm not sure if you just saw that. Like, it's as simple as that, and you're like, well, ZBrush does that. Oh yeah, does ZBrush do that? Like, let me show you something, and let me ask you, does ZBrush do this? And so now there's a different material there, and let's make it like this black sheen. Yeah, so that alone is pretty powerful, isn't it? But right now I'm not really graphically designing. Actually, you know what? I should make some new materials. We'll make a black matte. I'm going to make a few materials. I'm going to make one. I just installed the latest version, so that's why I'm kind of sketching. I'm seeing how different it feels. Usually whenever there's a new version of something, I'll try it out. So we'll make it a little darker. And then we'll turn off the... Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, we'll give it some gloss. No metalness. Yeah, we'll make it have some cool reflectivity to it. And then there, I got that. And then what we'll do is we'll make another material, and we'll call it white matte. It's kind of a lie, actually, the name, because it's not really matte, right? But it's okay. I can change the name later. It's just what came to my brain at the moment. And then this will definitely be white matte. I'll leave this. I won't make this shiny at all. In fact, I'll probably remove some gloss. Actually, no, have some gloss there. And then what we'll do is then we'll make white gloss. Yeah, and then once we have white gloss, then we can get some super shiny freaking materials. And I'm all about those super shiny materials. I'm not sure if you like super shiny materials. But if you don't, you're making mistakes in your life. I mean, you should really go see a psychiatrist if you're not into super shiny materials. You should go to a psychiatrist and be like, look, Anthony Jones just talked about it on his Facebook live stream that if I'm not into super shiny materials, there's something going on. And then the psychiatrist will be like, I can't take you on. You're the 100th customer, the 100th patient that I had come in this week, and you know there is an epidemic, and there's nothing we can do to help you. You know. And you'll see that you've been living a lie, and you should have always been into super shiny materials. Let's make that black matte now. Well, actually, hold on. Let me rename this. I don't think I can actually. Well, it doesn't matter. I'll just call this black underscore matte. It doesn't matter because I could just see it. That's why it doesn't matter. And we'll just make this like straight up black. And then we'll just like give it some sheen. There you go. All right. So now we have all kinds of materials to work with, including like the default like cool metal materials that they have. But I like using like the different kinds of blacks and whites and like different values, because what it allows me to do is it allows me to basically control the graphic read, right? So then if I go like there, and so what I can do now is like, let's say this will be my default shader. So I can go here, and select as default shader. So that way, it's whenever I make a change, it's going to change it to that um, instead of like that kind of weird skin matte cap value or color. And you can see right there what I did too is I changed the resolution like by the fly. Like I can tell it I want it to literally be 500,000 polygons. Like that's just things you can't do in ZBrush. So whenever people ask me, "Oh, what's the difference?" and I'm like, "Dude, just get into it." I highly recommend you taking JAMA's class in Learn Squared. And this is not I'm not in like being sponsored to say that. Like I genuinely love myself JAMA. JAMA is one of the greatest artists I know in this business. Super nice guy and super talented person. But also super inventive. Like, and he uses 3D-Coat even crazier than what you're seeing here. What's going on here? I need to make sure I'm picking the right stuff. There you go. Now we should see something happen. Oh, okay, I see. Because it's the same material, and so I wasn't seeing any really anything change. So I was like, wow, why isn't it changing? So we can go with that super shiny black. Yeah. Let's get in here again. Let's go from the profile. So if anyone asks about like how I design, like my design aesthetics, it's usually motorcycle designs, man, like or car designs. These are the kinds of things I love to look at. I'm gonna start mixing it up though, because I realize that's like all I look at, and I should change it up a bit. So we can look at this material, or maybe even this, and make it like white, so there's like some really cool contrast. Let me see what's been saying in the chat. I see the chat's going crazy. Seems like better than ZBrush. Is that a black cyborg? I mean the cyborg? Wait, you said cyborg right, so I'm not sure what that meant. You got any recommendations for 3D-Coat tutorials? I just said one. And I'm going to be making some soon, so just keep your eye out. I'm going to start making tutorials again, so keep your eyes out for that. Yes, ZBrush does that. ZBrush does what? Like, explain yourself, Bruce. ZBrush does not do what I just did. Like, you mean like, can it change materials? Yeah, of course. But does it change materials that easily? Hell no. And you know that. You know that's a fact. There's like 7 steps before you can actually genuinely make a material that fast. And even making materials in ZBrush aren't that intuitive, you know? So like, and trust me, I've been using ZBrush for over 6 years. So it's not like I'm just like someone that just started using ZBrush. I've actually used it professionally too. I used it for some of the stuff that I did in StarCraft Cinematic. So I take it very seriously, and my opinion is very objective in this. Now, organic sculpting, it's not like 3D-Coat is actually pretty good, but it's not as good as ZBrush. And that's, again, objective opinion, because I've tried to do some really crazy cool organic sculpting, and it's pretty good in 3D-Coat. And I think it could actually be just as good if I can practice it differently. And that's the thing. That's kind of where I'm at right now, is that maybe it's not so much the tool, it's me. I'm so familiar with ZBrush that whenever I organically sculpt in 3D-Coat, I think to myself, well, could have just done this in ZBrush much faster. But in terms of hard surface, man, like there's no comparison. Like ZBrush just does not allow you to sculpt at this pace, you know. And you must admit too, Bruce, right? This is pretty crazy. Do you find yourself working with 3D more than 2D? I use both because I know a painting background, and I was wondering if you're slowly transitioning. No, I paint still a lot, and I do 3D a lot. The big ZBrush 3D Coat Wars of 2016. Yeah, you know, there shouldn't be any wars. Like, just use both. I mean, really, if you can, then you should. I use both. I still use ZBrush. Like, look, I have ZBrush on my taskbar right here. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I can use both. It's not like, oh, all or nothing. It's just, what is the best tool at the moment? For instance, like a power drill is a really powerful tool to drill into small screws, but then you still need a screwdriver every once in a while to get into specific crevices, right? And so you have to ask yourself, what is the best tool at the moment? That wasn't even funny. I'm killing myself now. What? Yo, Anthony, what's the advantage of this type of sculpting over box sculpting? Well, I mean, if you can just see, like, in a matter of like 5 to 10 minutes, I've created this, right? Because I've been talking and stopping. So even though like transition of time has been probably more than that, if you've been watching, like I haven't actively been sculpting for like that time, right? And so I would say absolutely, uh, box sculpting has its, or box modeling rather, has its moments, right? You have to ask yourself, what is the tool at hand again, like is what's more important to you at that moment? Because if you treat everything like, yeah, like a black and white, kind of like what was said earlier, the great wars of ZBrush and 3D-Coat. If you treat like everything that way, then you're thinking of it wrong. It's not that 3D-Coat is better than ZBrush at every single thing that has ever been done in 3D. Just like ZBrush is not the best tool for everything in 3D. Like a lot of people still do not do box modeling in there, even though ZBrush has been making attempts to making box modeling easier. You know, like people still use Maya and Max, and then there's the wars between Maya and Max and Modo and all these other softwares. So don't worry about that stuff. Yeah, Bruce, 3D-Coat is painting in PBR multiple maps at the same time. Yeah, you can do that too. That's really great. But again, you know, Substances exists and it does really good too. It's just all preference, right? Super Shiny is a new black. It's classy. All matter lives matter. Oh wait, all lives matter. That's funny. Hey, what's up, Patrick? Good to see you. Would you recommend using this with ZBrush? Yes. And how do they work harmoniously? It's just all process, right? It's just you develop a process. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And you just got to work around it. Let me try to get through these as best so I can get back to focusing. 3D-Coat is great. What do you think of the new Rogue One poster? I don't think I've seen it. It's Rogue One looks cool though, but you know, we'll see. Hey, what's up, Danny? Good to see you, man. It's been a long time. Chris, I've actually used it to import to ZBrush and render on KeyShot for ZBrush. Cheaper than buying regular KeyShot. That's true. And then, hey, Anthony, just wanted to say I love your work, man. Keep it up. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you. What's up, Adam? Chris, if you didn't have access to ZBrush, would you be happy to use 3D-Coat instead? Yeah, absolutely. Well, laugh aloud, my bad. Stream keeps pausing, thought you were doing something else. Oh, it's all good. We want world peace. I don't know how to pronounce your name because it's not written in a language that I can understand. So person that has what looks like a K with another K and then N backwards NBKO. What's up, buddy? And I want world peace too, and I think it's going to happen. Probably in our lifetimes too, probably in the next few decades. What do you think of Stranger Times? Stranger Times? Stranger Times? You mean Stranger Things? Love it if you're talking about Stranger Things. Just finished it. Like me and my wife binge watched all of the show in 2 nights. Like we watched the first half of it one night and then we had to go to bed because I have a hard time sleeping at night as it is, and having shows like that didn't make my life any easier. That's a bad cut. I need to do a better cut. But yeah, watching it last night, it was freaking awesome. I was like, I'm so addicted to that show. In fact, I'm sad that it's over. I'm actually genuinely sad that it's kind of over. At least the experience of it is over. Yeah, it was really good. Highly recommend it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. We need to have this stuff shiny. What? Not that. That we can keep black. Maybe make this matte black. Yeah, I highly recommend using 3D-Coat. I'm not going to be looking at the chat for a second, so if you guys are writing questions, I'll come back to it in just a minute. And I'll give shout-outs to anyone who's hanging out. I appreciate you guys' supports and all this types of stuff that I do. I really do, and that's why I'm trying to get back into it. Again, I'm going to be trying to do more regular streams, and I don't mean like streams that I spend like an hour or 2 hours talking. Like just quick. Like I usually just come in here like just like this. I just like to do a quick thing, and sometimes I don't even show it. I might not even share this, right? I might save it, but I might not even share it on Facebook or anything, because people ask me like how often do I practice, and I tell them all the time, and I just kind of wanted to prove that, with a little bit of demoing here and there. And I don't mean like every second of every hour. I just mean like whenever I have that second of that hour, I will spend that time trying to create something. And if it's worth viewing, you guys can let me know. Like, what do you guys think? Is this a pretty cool kind of break from just having like a 4-hour stream every once in a while? I still think doing a 4-hour stream is great, like a really long stream, but it's one of those things. It's very daunting to do as like a person that's like very precious with their time. Like I really like cherish every hour of my time, and because of that, because I work so much, too much, right? That if if I had to do like a 1-hour stream today, that's that's a lot. Like I really need to get this other thing done. But I know people really genuinely like it, and I know people genuinely get a lot out of it. Some people, like I got inspired when I went to Croatia because I met some great artists who told in such inspiring stories about how they didn't really have much, and stuff like this was like the most valuable stuff available to them. You know, things that allowed them to learn and to also engage with the community because there was no other alternative, and that that warmed my heart quite a bit. And so I was like, I need to investigate. I need to find a way for me to get back into this way of educating, which is not just doing my mentorships, because my mentorships are fun, and there's a place for those, for people who can afford it, who can afford the cost and time to do the work, but not everybody can. And I'm not saying that like I should dumb down and make these like really quick and easy streams or anything. I'm just saying I should just do them, and someone out there is going to find some value in them, and that's all that matters. It's like one person out of many people that can come in and be like, hey, like I learned a lot from your tutorials, I learned a lot from your streams. Like that stuff I hear all the time. I went through like the Facebook messaging just recently that I had on my Facebook page, and there's like so many of that, and I just felt like so stupid for not like responding to them at the time. I'm not sure what was going on. Something probably that I like, some fire that I had to put out at the time probably prevented me from focusing back on that. But things are starting to, become easier for me to do stuff like this. Like I've set up my computer at my house now so that I can like I'm at home pretty often during the weekends, and like hanging out with the kiddos like is great. But then every once in a while, they're sleeping or they're out. Like right now, they're out watching a movie with their friends and stuff, and they're with their mama. And I'm gonna go to this board game event, like I mentioned earlier. And so I thought, hey, before I take a shower, why don't I just do a quick stream? It's on Facebook. A lot of people are on Facebook. I don't have to promote it. I don't have to do anything crazy. I just jump on there and see how many people are joining in. I mean, this has been actively staying at around 200 people. So it's proving some viability of me just jumping in, right? And doing some stuff. So let me go ahead and do some questions and answers. Again, let me go through this. But yeah, you can see it's pretty quick, right? I mean, a lot of people don't use 3D-Coat actually as a designer tool. Like only a few people have been doing it, and it's pretty good. Like it's pretty flawless. Here, like so, if you've messed with ZBrush a lot, then you can start seeing the obvious pros of what's happening in the last 15-20 minutes of me being on this, right? And if you can't, then you just don't have enough experience, I guess, with either. But it's okay. Like, people are going to say what they're going to say. People are going to believe what they're going to believe. And there's nothing really I can say or do. But for those of you who know nothing of either software, trust me when I say that this is pretty powerful. It's pretty intuitive, too. Let me go ahead and read through some of the stuff I see that people wrote. Zaviko, is that how you say your name? All right, cool. What kind of expression is this helmet going to have? How much do you care about it look angry or aggressive in a military/alien way? There's no purpose to this. This is not like a tutorial or anything or a demo, really. This is just an example of me working without any objective. And most of my streams are like that anyway. But I have no objective here. This is just me like, hey, I was thinking of messing around with some 3D-Coat some more, practicing some basic stuff that I was thinking about. In fact, there's some things I want to try out again right now. I'm going to show you in just a second. But I am going to make a dedicated full-on 3D-Coat tutorial within the next few weeks. So I'll keep that in the loop if you just follow me. But yeah, in terms of like actually, I don't even think about that stuff. I always just think about cool. Like that is like the number one thing I think about. Oh yeah, when is your next character mentorship class? Really wanted to take part. There's one in August. If you go to my website, rolluppencil.net, all the information should be in the bootcamp section. You see something that says courses, hit the bootcamp, and everything should be there. Yeah, Stranger Things. Yes, we just mentioned that. It's an awesome show. Highly recommend it. Gives this bot a nickname, dude. All right, I'll give this bot a nickname, and his nickname will be, I'll call him Albino Cyclops. Albino Cyclops? Cyclops? Albino? Bino? I'll just call him Bino with a B. All right. Do you do retopo and make your mesh games or engine ready? Yes. Not all the time. It all depends on the purpose. For this, there's no purpose, so I'm just doing it as I see it. So, but yeah, I try to because I can do a lot with that, and it can look just as good. Nice work. Love your videos. Thank you, man. Israel, you're awesome. Same. The music is so freaking great. Oh, yeah. Yeah, what's up, Rashto? Yeah, the music's awesome. I really like the music in too. I felt like it should have had a little more orchestra type music. At the end of the season, they finally had it. But I felt like there should have been a little more, like kind of more like a John Williams type of thing. It was a little too much of the techno stuff, but that's just like a really small nitpicky thing. It's not a big deal. But it was good. It was good. Oh, Jama. Speak of the devil. Jama is in this chat, guys. He is the guy who pretty much got me to where I'm at with 3D-Coat. Like, all of what I know started with that guy, and I highly recommend, again, taking his course. Jama is the best. One of the nicest people in the world, and one of the best teachers in the world. So I highly recommend his course. He's doing some workshops, too. If you could go check out his workshops, I highly recommend going to them. Hi, Anthony. I'm currently working with photogrammetry, and I need a software to post-process the results. Retopo, cut blobs, cap holes, straighten walls. I was looking at 3D-Coat tutorials for more. I need to see more. Hold on. I was looking at 3D-Coat tutorials this very morning. Would you recommend it? Yeah. It all depends on what you're working with. What brushes you? I don't know what that means. I'm using several tools though, Cameron. Adam, he says Jama, 3D-Coat. From whom can I learn it from? You mentioned someone. Jama. And he's in here. Jama, you should have heard what he said about you, man. Bad mouthing. Anthony, how is your approach to paint organic monsters and creatures? I still use ZBrush for most of the time, just because of speed. But I've been messing with 3D-Coat in terms of that, and it's actually not so bad. And so I think, it's just practice. Hey, Adam. Hey, Zabby. I know, he hates me. I genuinely do not hate you. You know that. I love you with all my body. I told John once, we talk every once in a while on Facebook message, and I was like, if I wasn't married and you had not gotten married and we were both gay, I would try to marry you. I'd try to go out for you. And then he was just laughing, but I was dead serious. All right, let me read some more. And then I'm going to call it a wraps, guys. I'm going to bounce out. David Tilt told us the story of how he met you, Mr. Pro StarCraft. Yeah, this drama I heard is like freaking epic at StarCraft. I am blessed. My name is said. Thank you. Zabby, you're awesome. I wouldn't worry about it. Daniel, what would you recommend to be careful with 3D-Coat? And thank you. Voxels are pretty heavy. And that's what I'm working with right now. I'm working in voxel. That's what's allowing me to do these awesome cuts and splits. So I really don't like this front piece. I need to do something with this piece. So I would highly recommend being very, very cautious of your voxel count. You don't need things to be at 1,000,000 every time. If you really want that sharpness, then sure. But if you can find a way to live without it, then you'll be really good most of the time. And you'll have, oh yeah, there you go. That's what needed to happen. This needed to be connected a little bit more to the top, so there's a little bit more flow. And so then graphically, it looks like there's kind of like a spider vagina mouth going on there. Yeah, maybe this is just too much black. I need to cut this apart some more so we can get some balance. Balance this bad boy out. We'll scale this down a little bit. And then we'll turn this also white, but we'll turn it to reflective white. So now it becomes more of a feature. Or maybe not. Maybe I should just keep it black, but it's a different material. But we're breaking it apart, so it's looking better. Yeah, I'd say be careful with that. Just finished playing, actually. Too addictive. StarCraft is evil. That is even more inspiring. You are gaming and you are superb at art. Damn. That is some quick design, even though you've been continuously talking. Got to try this coat. Yeah, Andre, it's freaking good. But, keep in mind, the 3D-Coat doesn't design for you. It's just a good tool. Like ZBrush, I've seen people do some just as much as amazing, if not better, stuff outside of ZBrush and outside of 3D-Coat, right? Like if you look at Vitaly Bulgarov, like he has done amazing stuff, and he hardly uses like any 3D sculpting software. In fact, if he does, he uses it only for like sketching purposes, and then he takes it into a more serious software, and like then makes amazing designs. So the designing, like I always tell my students this, don't worry about the tools so much. Worry about the technique of designing and understanding your designs, because that is something that you can take with you. Because when the tools advance, because trust me, they're only going to get better, especially with VR coming around. VR is going to make even better tools I think that's where the first step of VR is going to take hold, is in software development. Like people who are going to create really good like tools like Maya, but in VR, like the ultimate 3D making tool, in like a VR and 3D environment is like a no-brainer. And people are already in the works of developing these tools. So the tools are going to get better, man. And I mean, if you haven't seen that tilt brush thing that Sparth did, I mean, it's just a good example that Sparth, it's not that tilt brush allowed Sparth to design like an awesome spaceport or something. He loves designing spaceports, and he's one of the greatest people to do it. He has his whole job at like 343 as art director is to design stuff like that, and art direct other people to design stuff like that. So that's why it's so good and so impressive and so well polished. It's not because he's like, oh, tilt brush is amazing at making these types of things. It's just that he's amazing. So I would, again, don't worry about the tools so much, guys. Anyways, didn't know you still played, had to stop. Okay, looks like people are talking to Jama. Let me see, let me kind of weed through this. Would you bring this into Photoshop afterwards to finish it, or just present it as final here? It all depends on how much I want to do here. If I don't want to do any more here, then I'll take it to Photoshop. But like I said, I'm just doing whatever. It's great. I didn't know this software. I see. I'm not touching Overwatch. My wife will divorce me. Yeah, she will, Jama. Dang it. Missed the start. Anywhere to see the full and later? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna probably save this onto my Facebook, and so you might be able to see it there. But like I said, I'm gonna try to do most of these on my Facebook page. So if you want to see more of this, please follow my Facebook page, which is basically the same thing, Robot Pencil. It's at Robot Pencil Art. It has like a little blue monster thingy is the face. So that way, like all that stuff and all the content will be a little bit more organized. Sibino. I see there's going to be a lot of chat, so I'm going to try to go through this. AJ, any tips on how to shade line art, manga comic book style? I love Gummer lists on lines, but I have many issues with black and white shading. Should I just copy some comics, I guess? Yes. I'm going to just kind of get through this a little bit faster. So I don't mean to be rude, but I have to get going. Like I said, this is supposed to just be a quick thing, jumping in and out. Yeah, I mean, study from things that actually make sense to what you're trying to improve upon. Don't look at things that don't make sense, right? Like if you're trying to get better at drawing animals, then don't look at people. Draw animals, right? If you're trying to draw people better, then don't look at animals, But you should look at both because you can learn from both, right? But at the same time, you need a little bit of that focus to allow you to grow a little bit faster, or at least a little bit more binary, or I'm sorry, not binary, a little bit more singularity. Like you can just focus on this thing for a little bit, and then until you feel like you've learned enough, you move on to the next thing. How does it work with Maya? Not sure. This is a little bit dated question, so I'm just going to kind of go through these a little bit faster. Yeah, you can put this stuff into Maya, just like ZBrush. I mean, it's just a 3D model. You can bring it in as an OBJ. It shouldn't be a big deal. If you want to make it like a workable, usable file, then you can still bring it into Maya. It's just a 3D package. So this is what the Grays wear to Comic-Con. Jama is a big inspiration. We share many design views, and I love the focus on ideas. Thumbnailing. I've been doing pages of thumbs and improving. Yeah, Jama's awesome, man. Jama, can you make some time in the near future? We need your blessings in Toronto. That's how Jama laughs, by the way. Oh boy, incoming Tumblr, Anthony times Jama. Yeah, I love Jama. Jama is a good friend of mine, and I highly recommend you guys check out his stuff. And again, he's not endorsing me to say this. This is just coming from my hearts. Oh boy. Oh, I already read that. Legalize bro marriage. Do you have some artist reference for Cyborg, AJ? Out of Vitali. Yeah, you just Google Vitali, and then bam, just there's tons of stuff there. But like for me, in terms of reference, I like to look at stuff that is not um, like entirely the thing that I'm trying to like do. So if I'm trying to do like cyborgs or robots, right, like you were suggesting, then I would look at that initially, but then I will try to deviate. So like earlier I was talking about studying, you should look at the things that you want to learn, and that's true for studying. But whenever you're trying to create something that is unique, you should look at things that are not of the things that you are trying to design. Because when you don't do that, that's when you start to be creative. When you do that, that's when you start becoming creative. When you start to look at things that have nothing to do or pertain with the specific thing. So if I was drawing a cyborg, but I'm looking at motorcycle designs for inspiration, then there's going to be an aesthetic that's going to be a little bit different than what you normally would see or find on like very popular websites, right? Like a lot of people who go on to ArtStation, which is a great platform, and I use it and I love it, and I highly recommend most people use it. Um, but if I stayed there, then my designs will start to look very similar to a lot of people that are already awesome there, because the artwork that's usually posed there there's a lot of similarities, because a lot of times people, especially who are just starting out, they try to emulate a lot of these great artists, and there's nothing wrong with emulating great artists in the beginning, because you're just trying to get a foothold on your style, and you're trying to get a foothold on the kind of things you actually like. But the problem is that those artists already exist, unfortunately. So if you keep drawing or getting inspiration from those people consistently, then be prepared to get turned down, because that other person's going to get the job, unlike you, because you're not that artist. If they're looking for that kind of quality work, then they're going to go to the source most of the time. And so you have to remember, like, a lot of the people that you are inspired by are also your competition. Like me and Jama, we're great friends, but like he's also my competition in this industry. Luckily for us, people when they get higher up into their positions of art or their art careers, there's this kind of common we get it. We're competitions, but we're all in this together, and we all have to stick together. And just because he's an artist that is in competition with me doesn't mean I can't admire his artwork either, which is another beautiful thing, is that I can look at his stuff and objectively say that Jama is better than me, and I can learn a lot from him, and I do all the time. And I always recommend people to kind of have that mentality, because it's only progressive and it's only forward thinking for all of us when we do that, and it helps us all out, seriously. And so with that being said, I highly recommend people who ever want to change up their style or look at things or improve their style, or try to, have one in general, then don't look at just one artist. Look at like lots of artists and try to digest all that information, one artist at a time, right? Like I remember one time for one class, one of my students asked me, like, name your favorite artists, and that's just such an impossible thing to do. Like I was like, there's so many. Any answer I give you would be misleading. Like if I just mention one artist, then you think, okay, I just need to look at this one artist, and it's just not true. It's never going to be true. So I said, here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to write down as many artists as I can think of, and then you can kind of just cycle through them as you like. And then so I did that, and I ended up writing about over 120 names in like 10 minutes. Maybe not even 10 minutes, like probably like 5 or 8 minutes. And he was just like, oh my gosh, okay, I get it. Like he was overwhelmed. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of the point. I don't want to just say, yeah, just look at this one artist and your life will be great. It's like, no, I look at tons of artists. And then I think that insight was very powerful. And hopefully that was just as powerful for you. So I'm going to go ahead and just read off the last comments and questions. And then I might not be able to answer the questions, but I'll just read them out just so you guys can Appreciate that I am reading, and I want you guys to know this is the kind of stream these will be, where I don't have to wait for John or Kaylin or anyone else to kind of do a stream. It doesn't have to be interview. It doesn't have to be like, oh, let's do this thing. It's just me talking with the peoples and hanging out whenever I have a second. So let me go ahead and finish the last thing. AJ, how do you approach your creatures and monsters, organic ones? In 3D, I usually just I use ZBrush. Sometimes I use 3D-Coat just to get crazy shapes and silhouettes. Any workshops coming in Houston, Texas area? Maybe one day. Will you be at CTN Expo this year? Yes, I will. I'll be walking around though. Hey, AJ, I'm having issues with the media in which I want to work. I really love 2D but art also, but doing 3D art equally, and I don't know if I should do one or the other. I'll just stop reading there. I'll just say just pick one and just start going for it. I wouldn't say that you need to focus here or there on one. Just pick one and just start to really focus on it, and then you can always come back to the other. You know, a lot of people think, well, I can't learn lighting or fundamentals if I do only fixate on 3D. That's not true, and vice versa. You just pick one and you try to become the best you can as you're working on it, and you can always jump back and forth. I mean, think about it. If you spent 3 or 4 years of dedicated, focused time on becoming, let's say, a 2D artist, does that mean you can never mess with 3D? Like, no, of course not. You can always come back and learn 3D. Like, I've been doing 2D art for onset of 10 years, right? But also been diving into 3D for an onset of 10 years, you know? I spent most of that 10 years probably focused on 2D. Well, actually, absolutely focused on 2D. But the 3D stuff was here and there, and probably collectively, if I were to add up all the actual experience, probably a collective of like maybe 3 years, you know? And so if I decided to stop doing 2D and just go jump into 3D for another 10 years, I mean, I'm still going to be around, right? Hopefully. And so then I could move on to something else, you know? 10 years, I mean, 4 or 5 years is not a long time to really get good at something. That's all you need if you really focus your time. You don't need 100 years. Obviously, the more years you add, the better you'll become. We're living in a different time where information and access to information is so much easier to get, you know, and we're living longer, where people used to not be able to have access to create information and education, and then they would only live to 40, or they would have to like retire at 40 or 50 because their body is breaking apart. But that's changing now. People's bodies are breaking apart in their 50s and 60s, you know? I mean, 3 years in this day and age is enough time to become really proficient at any said thing. It really is. So I wouldn't worry about it. But what I would worry about is your lack of focus. Just stay focused. Trust me. Lack of focus has got me in a lot of trouble, and it will get you in a lot of trouble too. Yeah, you're welcome, Remy. What brush will make my life great and happy? Circle brush. Heck yeah, hope to see you there, man. This is my first year going. Yeah, I'll most likely see you there, Jack. If I don't, that would be sad. Christian, Alex Crescentienti. I visited a museum of art in order to see which art form appeals to me, sculptures or paintings, and sculpture sealed my faith. There it is. What is that? Transformers? You bet it is. I don't know if it's Transformers. I love Transformers, though. There was a stream earlier about an event my buddy Zabby is hosting, and Zabby and Denzel, like 2 of my students, and I highly recommend you guys check it out. But yeah, we were talking about they were talking about me, and then I brought up Transformers, and then they're like, yeah, AJ will argue for days about loving Transformers, and I will, but not today. Not today. I'm gonna have to get going. All right, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'm gonna just put the last touches to this. I'm gonna go to the render because the rendering in here has gotten pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was. And I've been starting to use it as an actual thing. So yeah, just turn on the render. There it is. Let's just turn down the exposure, turn down the environment light, so we can kind of make my light that I put there, the star. Yeah, like it gives me cast shadows, and it's nice. Let's go in there. It doesn't give you any ambient occlusion, or at least not as much as I would like. But I think that's going to be like a button one day where you could just turn that on, and it's going to be awesome, ambient occlusion. But yeah, look at that. That looks not so bad, right? Straight out of the engine. And so like I didn't have to jump out of anything else. It's pretty good. And that's kind of like why I love this tool. So yeah, this is pretty nice. I like it. Anyways, peace out, guys. Thanks for everyone who showed up. Shout outs to all those people who showed up. And peace out, friends. And I hope you guys have a good one. Laters.